Guess what it's time for? Now, going into these days, I knew that these were going to be very long days, and I've already had 2 very long days because of the G1. And after learning my mistakes from Universal Studios, I wasn't possibly going to make that same mistake at all twice. Absolutely not. Well, shit. Anyway, after roasting in the sun for like another fucking 2 hours, I knew before I even got on the plane to this country what ride I was going to line up for first. And that was Beauty and the Beast. The first time I came to this country and I first went to Disneyland, I wanted to really go on this ride. And the queue was like fucking 3 hours long. So naturally we said, fuck that. So I knew the second I got into this park, I was making a beeline to it. I knew exactly where it was. And I was gonna, without fail, I was gonna line up to that to get in the front of that line as quickly as humanly possible. Still waited like 40 minutes. But still, that was nowhere near as bad as obviously what I would have done if I went later on in today. As the line indeed ended up being like 3 to almost 4 hours long. Like, good fucking God. But after riding the ride, I can perfectly see why everyone in Japan loves this ride so much. I mean, first off, these animatronics are absolutely extraordinary. And this ride has just so many details to it, from the Be Our Guest scene to something that wasn't there before to finally A Tale as Old as Time. And they do this really weird, they do this really trippy trick at the end where the Beast turns into his human form again. I swear to God, even watching that in person, I like seeing it all the time in clips, and I'm like, alright, I'm going to try and find the secret when I get there. No, I couldn't find it. He just turns back into a human. And it's extraordinarily cool. That one really did my fucking head in. But then you go into the ballroom and you forget about it, because this scene is just so incredibly enchanting. This room is pulled straight out of the film, and it's just super fucking cool to listen to a Japanese rendition of A Tale as Old as Time while dancing in these teacups in this ballroom. This ride blew my mind away, and 100% worth every second of lining up for it. Absolutely ride this ride, but do yourself a favor and get a fast pass if possible. After this though, I was quite hungry, so I went over to Gaston's Tavern, and this place is also really damn cool. I went ahead and got the Hunter's Pie with a Coca-Cola, and that was bloody beautiful. Nowhere near as good as a pie back in Australia, but had a beautiful crunch to it. And the filling in it, while very like uniquely tasteful, was very delicious. And I even paid a little extra and got this little souvenir pouch, which was really nice and had lots of attractions represented on there. I gave that one to Mum as well, because I thought she'd like that, and she did. Now, the ride I went on to next might surprise a few of you. This one's a little hard to explain. So, this ride means a lot to my family, as it was my grandpa's favorite ride. Mainly because he was paralyzed, so he was in a wheelchair. And he would ride on the back of the ride, kind of elevated, so he always had the best seat whenever he rode this particular ride, no matter what country he was in. He would get up to the back, be elevated, and would have the best seat of this ride out of everyone in the cart every single time without fail. And it helped him feel like a kid again. So this ride, ever since my grandpa passed away, whenever we're in a Disney park, we go out of our way to ride it every single time. Whether it's a solo trip, whether it's a family trip, we go on it without fail. And holy fucking shit does it do my head in. Fuck me, this song is so fucking annoying. So yeah, after getting the fuck out of there, I ran into this cart that was actually selling popcorn. More specifically caramel popcorn. I love me caramel popcorn. And they had this really nice It's a Small World popcorn bucket. So I went ahead and grabbed that for my mom because I knew that would mean a lot to her, considering again it's her dad's favorite ride. The popcorn, however, yeah, that was all mine. Yeah, you ain't getting that, bitch. At this point, I don't really have a plan because this was the only kind of things I planned out for my day here at Disney, which I really wish I didn't do because this day felt all over the fucking place because of that. But considering I was only here for the day, I thought I did pretty damn well. To start off with, I headed over to Toontown to get on the Who Framed Roger Rabbit ride, and I mean, this ride had a really short queue, and clearly for good reason. This was not that good of a ride. Very fast paced, but the wheel wouldn't really spin the car at all, so I was just kind of staring at a wall most of the time. I had to fucking like turn around like this just to kind of see what was going on. So that was a bit of a letdown, but I digress. Still an alright ride, and again, a really short queue. So nothing to complain about there, really. I didn't wait hours for nothing. And they also had this water station nearby, which, fuck me, I needed to cool down, because it was fucking boiling in Japan this day. So whenever I had the chance, I came back here a few damn times. But anyway, I tried to go over to the Haunted Mansion. Now, this is where my day kind of got thrown into a disarray. So I went on over to the Haunted Mansion, only to be turned away because the ride was closed due to maintenance. Okay. Naturally, then I went over to Tomorrowland and was going to line up for Space Mountain. That's currently shut down. I'm not sure due to maintenance. I didn't really ask about that one. Then I tried to line up for this Stitch attraction, which I thought was a ride. Got turned away because it was a talk show where Stitch only talks Japanese and has to interact with the audience. So if I'm randomly selected, the show's kind of fucked. So okay. What can I ride then? Went ahead and booted up the app and saw what the fuck was even open. And I saw that the Star Tours ride that was literally a few feet to my left was only a 10-minute lineup queue. And not only did this ride have the single best bloody air conditioning in not only this park, but I think in this entire fucking country, to the point that I rode this ride twice just for the air conditioning alone. But it was also just a really fun ride. You get into essentially a space taxi with C-3PO, and you get attacked by a random Star Wars villain every time. The first time I went on the ride, we got attacked by Darth Vader and Boba Fett. The second time I rode the ride, we were attacked by Kylo Ren and the Resistance. Both rides were very incredibly unique, where you fly through unique Star Wars locations depending on the fucking villain you're getting chased by. Cool ride. Obviously flying through different iconic Star Wars locations depending on which villain's chasing you and all. But this, I did really like this ride. It was a fun one. But after I got off of Star Wars for the second time, because again, that air conditioning was fucking beautiful, I headed on over to Buzz Lightyear's Asteroid Blaster, which I actually did get a standby pass for, which was free. When you go into the app, you can get standby passes for certain attractions at different times in the day, which basically just gives you quick access to any ride you really want in the park. Or selected rides, I should say, sorry, not... because those time slots do get full really quickly. But anyway, it's a very simple ride. You basically hop into a cart and you shoot as many targets as possible with your Buzz Lightyear blaster. A really cool ride, just a very simple sit-down ride and you're shooting things. I thought I got a pretty good score. Probably not, but you know, who gives a fuck anyway. So I didn't stick around for very long and I went to go get some food. I went to this space pizza kind of place. I thought it was like Pizza Planet, but it was like some other kind of weird thing. They had a bit of a show when I was lining up to get a pizza, and even when I sat down and did it a second time, the whole place had like a fucking factory meltdown or whatever, and I understood what was going on, because they actually had English subtitles below the monitor of like what was happening. So I was able to follow along the story and everything, and it was a bit fucking weird. Very old school, I would definitely say. The food here was alright. The food wasn't something to write home about, not at all. But I hadn't had pizza in ages, so I just went with it. But there was this really nice cheesecake that, again, if you pay a little extra, you get a little souvenir plate of Chip and Dale. That was really cute. I also gave that one to Mum. Anyway, after having a nice meal, I went on over to the Baymax ride, the Big Hero 6 ride. And this ride was very special in a very unique way. So the ride on paper is very simple. You get into the cart, Baymax drives you around for about 1.5 minutes at high speeds, and then you come to a stop. Very simple. You wouldn't think it's worth the 45-minute lineup. The lineup was probably funner than the actual ride. And here's why. Every time the ride is activated and you're going around, random music is playing in the background. That's always on a loop. It's a different song every time, but eventually it goes on a loop. And all the staff and everyone that's lining up dances along to all the songs. They know the lyrics by heart. They know the dances by heart. And they join the staff in making the atmosphere of this ride just feel incredibly special. There was even this old guy that was clearly not a staff member, but was standing near the ride, doing the dances with the staff of the ride the entire time the park was open. That dude paid $90 to go to Disneyland to stay at the one attraction and do the dance with the staff the entire day. And that was... a lot of people would see that as odd, but I see it as passion. Passion for something that you love, that you're willing to go to the park and stay there for the whole day and just make sure everyone else is having a good time. I thought that was really, really lovely. It was one of my favorite things about the park, to be honest. Just the atmosphere of this park. Everyone's happy that you're there. All the staff members have a smile on their face. Everyone is cheerful. All the kids are running around, having a great time. This park really made you feel special. I don't know how to describe it. I don't get to go to Disneyland often. I've only ever been to one other Disney park, and that was the one in California. But that was back way before they even added all the Star Wars and Marvel stuff. But even then, I still have very fond memories of just having the time of my life at this park. But not all the staff were always happy all the time. Where here in Japan, you won't see a single frown. After actually eventually getting on the ride, having my go and joining in on the dances, because I couldn't help myself. By the time I got to the ride, I somewhat knew the dances, so I joined in. And all the staff seemed really happy that I was giving the attempt of joining in, which made me feel really good. But right after I got the ride, I actually went back to the Toy Story shop, because I remember while I was there, and they had a CD with all the songs on it. And immediately, without hesitation, I picked it up and went straight to the counter. It was, I think, $35, but honest to God, it was worth every dollar. After that, I headed straight to the other side of the park, to the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, and it was alright. It was a very simple boat ride. This ride, however, was the one ride in this park that wasn't English, so as a tourist, you'll get that benefit of riding this ride, that it'll actually be in English. So it was nice to know what the hell was going on for a change. But again, it's a very slow ride, especially when the boats start piling up at the end. They've got a few too many boats going on at the same time, so a lot of the time, you're just queuing up at the end just to get off the ride. It's like another ride within the... It's like another line within the ride. After that boat ride, we went straight to another fucking boat ride with the Jungle Cruise. And this one somehow was somehow a lot more fun than the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. It's just a simple jungle tour. When you get on a boat and you've got your tour guide, who is very enthusiastic about this job. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I really wish English-speaking countries could have this energy and enthusiasm about their jobs. Because if they do, that actually might be tolerable. Like, you're going into a restaurant and they give you a dirty look just because you said, can I get no salt on my fries? And then they reply with, how about you go fuck yourself? And they fuck off. But this guy clearly loves his job. And it made the ride so worth it to me. Even though the wait was only like 15 minutes, mind you, it was still incredible. It was a lot more fun than it would have been. I know for a fact if I rode the same ride in the States, I wouldn't have even half the fun I had here. Then I noticed as I was walking along, I noticed another Stitch attraction, which this one they said was perfectly okay, even if I didn't understand Japanese. It was more of a musical performance. So I went ahead, took my seat, and yeah, this was really fun. Just a simple little Hawaiian concert, have you. It mainly features these birds that are singing a bunch of different songs from Lilo and Stitch's history. And then Stitch comes out at the end, and then they perform the intro song from the TV show. This one was really good vibes. Definitely a nice kind of sit down and rest kind of ride. So if you're just walking through the air and you're like, I need an attraction, but I don't want to do much and wait very long, this is the perfect attraction. That was until the little shit spat on me at the end. Fuck to it! Little fucking cunt. After that, I headed over to Splash Mountain. As you know, at this park, it's actually here. This ride was a lot of fun. I don't understand why they got rid of it in the States. I do get it. I do get it. I'm just fucking with yous. But still, in all seriousness, this ride is very, very fun. Just, again, another boat ride, but with one of those big drops at the end. So you're going up the thing very slowly, and all this nonsense is happening around you. I couldn't really follow the story. Again, it was all in Japanese. And then they just fucking dunk you down, and you get kind of drenched. I was hoping to get a bit more wet, but I really didn't get that wet. Somehow my fucking stuff got more wet than I did, so that was a bit of a... Yeah, that pissed me off a little bit. So yeah, that was very fun, and as you can see from this photo, the drop was very fun. And then I slowly started walking around the park, and then suddenly an announcement comes over the comms.
Fireworks are still canceled.
I was so depressed I decided to go to the Haunted Mansion, which was finally okay to ride. And to be honest, it was boring as fuck. I can't lie, it was boring. It was just another really slow moving ride. The practical effects and everything are really cool and all. But it wasn't anywhere near as scary as I was hoping it'd be. And just, yeah, it was just okay. I'm not particularly going to ride this ride again unless they change the theming over to the Nightmare Before Christmas theming. Then I'll probably ride this ride again. But for as it is as a default ride, yeah, I couldn't really care for it. The final ride I decided to go on today was the Winnie the Pooh Honey Hunt ride. And it was very similar to the Beauty and the Beast ride, that you get in a little car and you go on a small adventure with Winnie and friends to find Pooh some honey. And it was a very wholesome ride to end the day of. I very much liked it. It's definitely one that's very family friendly. Everyone that rode the ride I saw was having the time of their life on this one. And by the way, I also brought this like water fan thing to keep me cool for the next couple of days. And it was the MVP of my whole damn day. Of both of the damn days. This thing kept me cool for the remainder of my time I was at both of these parks. And just... if you're going in the summertime and you see these things, pick one up. But anyway, I decided to end my day by giving someone a little visit. Mickey Mouse. And this was a bit of a wholesome way to end my day. I didn't originally necessarily want to get my photo with Mickey, but my family insisted that they wanted a photo, so I went, alright, fine, I'll line up for the 60 fucking minute queue and go meet Mickey Mouse. And it ended up actually being the best decision I could have made to end my day on. The second Mickey saw me, he gave me a big hug, took our photo, and it was just nice to receive a hug. It actually almost made me cry a little bit. I'm like, wow, I didn't know how important human interaction was for me until like I finally just got like a hug, you know? Like, I've been on this, I've been in this country for practically 2 weeks now. And it's like the first hug I'm getting in like over 2 weeks. So, I don't know. There was just something nice about it to end my day on for Disneyland. Okay. On to Disneysea! Anyway, to start my day, I bolted over to the Tower of Terror, as I knew that that was a ride that had very long queue times later on in the day. That and Toy Story Mania was already full. But by the time I got there, I only was in line for maybe about half an hour. So, to be honest, not bad. And the Tower of Terror was very fucking intense. To be honest, this was a bit more intense than I thought it was. Now, I've been on the one in America, but I hadn't ride that since 2012. And I was a lot younger back then, so I was a bit more prone to excitement. I'm now a grown-ass adult, and I almost had a fucking heart attack. That ride was very fucking intense, but fuck me, I guess the Japanese love that sort of thing. So anyway, after shitting myself and having a new fear of elevators, it was time to check out the brand new area of this park, Fantasy Springs. And, I mean, my god, even from just the entry point, this place is absolutely stunning. So this new section of the park prioritizes on 3 IPs from Disney. Peter Pan, Frozen, and Tangled. Out of the 4 new rides that were added to this area, I was only able to go on 2 of them. Firstly, I went on Peter Pan's Flying Through Netherland Adventure, and that ride was really, really fun. It was like a almost 4D experience, so again, I wasn't able to film anything, unfortunately, for you, but I'll try and find some footage for you. But it's a very fun ride where you're flying through Netherland with Peter Pan, Wendy, and the others to go and save the sisters, cousins, whatever Wendy has. Siblings, let's call them siblings. Wendy's siblings from Captain Hook. And then once you save them, you fly them back to London to a beautiful recreation of the You Can Fly scene from the original movie. And then you fly back to Netherland to get dropped back off at the park. It was a really nice ride with some really cool effects. It reminded me a lot of the old Spider-Man ride that used to be at Universal Studios Japan. But at a bit of a larger scale. And not as intense as that ride was. It was a ride that I was very upset to hear that actually shut down. But either way, it was nice to know that there was a substitute for me. So one of the rides I wasn't able to get a thing for that I really did want to get one for, even though I don't care for the movies, was the Frozen ride. Because I heard that the practical effects of the animatronics in here were just stunning. But that ride sold out for its standby and priority passes in an instant. I was not able to get access to that ride for the entire remainder of the day. Like, even the Lantern ride and Peter Pan slots kind of opened up during the day. Never once did Frozen open up during the day. So that was shit, but it gives me a reason to come back and visit this place again. What I did do that was Frozen, however, just so I still got the kind of trifecta of experiencing something from all 3, was I went ahead and had breakfast at the Arabelle Banquet Hall, which was a bit of a set meal. It was a larger meal, a lot more expensive. I think this one cost me almost $40. Could have been more, could have been less. I don't actually I think I walked out of here spending about $50. Because I also went ahead and got some souvenirs while I was here. You pay a bit of extra money, and I got this nice cutlery set featuring Anna and Elsa. And I don't know, it was just a nice little thing to get that kind of represents the coronation of Princess Elsa. When it comes to the food, there was a meat pie, which, you know, I'm an Aussie, so I'm going to be fucking honest with you. It was alright. Nothing to write home about, that's for sure, but I mean, I really couldn't complain. It's puff pastry surrounded by liquid meat. I mean, what more can you fucking want? But anyway, after that, it was time for Rapunzel's Lantern Festival, and I love this ride. I do. But this was way too short. And that really disappointed me, but when the lantern scene comes up, it was to die for. That lantern scene was absolutely beautifully recreated. for this ride, but just this ride only really tells you half of the story of Tangled. It basically tells you up from when Finn rescues Rapunzel from the tower to the Lantern Festival, and then it just stops. It doesn't show the betrayal, doesn't show going back to the tower to face Mother Gothel or whatever. It just stops after the Lantern Festival, so it's just kind of like a to be continued kind of thing, and that kind of sucks for a ride. Like, if you're gonna go to a ride, you've already watched the damn movie. That's why you're riding the ride. So to only, like, half-ass it and only tell, like, half the damn story? I mean, come on, Disney. You could put more effort into it than that. But look, again, I can't complain, because that lantern scene was the main reason I wanted to go, and it didn't disappoint. Definitely ride the ride if you're a big Tangled fan. Just don't expect the ride to be any longer than 3 minutes. Anyway, after that, we said goodbye to Fantasy Springs and headed on over to Agrabah. And that's where I saw the Magic Lamp Theater Show, which was pretty much just a mini magic show featured with 3D effects from Journy. Again, another 3D experience, so I can't show you any footage of this. I'll try and find some footage online for you. But it didn't have a long queue. We waited no longer than 15 minutes, and it was a fun attraction. You even get greeted by this snake at the beginning that I guess tells you the kind of scenario of, like, there's a greedy magician and his assistants trying to help Genie get out of his thing because the magician thinks that Genie's stealing all the attention away from him. But yeah, it was an alright show, and he sings Never Have a Friend Like Me by the end, and, you know, everyone goes home happy. But anyway, after that attraction, we went ahead and left Agrabah and went straight to the volcano to Journey to the Center of the Earth. And holy fuck was the wait for this one a long one. I really wish I got a fast pass for this one. I waited in that line for a good hour and a half just to ride the fucking ride. And then it was over in like 4 minutes. And I'm going like, God damn it, dude. But it was a fun ride. It was a very, very, very fun ride. Probably one of the best rides at the park. There's a reason that it has a long queue to begin with, and you get this amazing view of the entry to the park when you go to the top of the volcano and you're going down. A really damn cool ride. That's for sure, 100% a really cool ride. But do yourself a favor and get a fast pass for this one. After that, going over to the aquarium side of things, I then line up and basically walked right into the Finding Nemo attraction, which was very similar to Star Tours in kind of structure and design. You get into this little fish boat machine thing, you take your seat, and there's like fucking 15 to 20 seats available or whatever. And you're shrunken down and you're thrown into the ocean and you're swimming around with Nemo and friends. A very simple ride. But definitely one that the whole family can enjoy. Bought some more useless crap that I don't even need, and then headed over to Toy Story Mania. Which, yes, I bought a fast pass for. Because seriously, I'm not waiting like another hour for a ride that I can just go home and play on my fucking Nintendo Wii. But this was a really fun ride. It definitely was worth the fast pass. You're basically going around, you're playing a bunch of mini games. Again, it was in 3D, so I couldn't really show much. But this was a really fun ride, and I actually I think I got a really good score. The staff gave me the impression that I got a really good score, so I don't know if they just tell everyone that, even though they get a fat fucking 0. But I don't know, it made me feel good about myself at least. Yeah. Anyway, after that, it was time to go shopping, motherfucker. And to be honest, I mainly got stuff for the family. I got a few magnets, got some Fantasy Spring stuff. I went ahead and got this really nice photo frame, which I haven't even changed the picture out of yet because it just looks so lovely that I haven't really bothered to like put a picture in it yet. Anyway, I went to checkout, saw a very scary number, and then I was off to more shops. To be honest, the only other things I bought were this ticket booklet to put in the ticket thing that I got for the tram line earlier, as well as this really nice Walt Disney pin of the Walt Disney statue, which I thought was really, really nice. Yeah, I wasn't putting that one back. That one seems like a no-brainer to me. Anyway, after a bit of shopping, I'm not gonna lie. At this point, I was completely fucking knackered. The last 4 days of this trip, 2 straight days of New Japan Pro Wrestling and 2 straight days of goddamn Disney, that really took a number on me. I felt absolutely exhausted after today. So the rest of this trip, I really had no idea how I was really going to kind of go on and just be like, I really don't know, because at this point I almost feel like I've fulfilled my obligation for this trip and I'm ready to go home. Which doesn't sound appropriate to say, really, especially now that I'm sitting here wishing I was back in Japan having the time of my life. But just, I was so damn tired. And I've been able to do a lot on this trip. I've been very, very grateful with all the stuff I've been able to do so far on this trip, that I felt like if my trip did end here, hypothetically, that I was alright with it. But of course, we had to keep going on. The final ride that we went on today was the Indiana Jones Adventure roller coaster, and holy fucking shit, this is the best ride in this park, period. This was a ride I did go on my first trip over here and remembered having very fond memories of, so I knew I wanted to get on it again. And I immediately remembered why I love this ride so much. It is a very intense ride that makes you go into these little jeeps and you're riding around this temple of the Crystal Skull kind of thing. And like the skull is messing around with the temple, sending you into disasters, and at one point we're driving in reverse trying to get away from the boulder, only to be saved by Claymation Harrison Ford. But still, this was a very cool ride, and the lineup queue for this ride alone is almost worth the fucking lineup. Too bad I had a fast pass. Anyway, but it's the end of the day, and I actually paid an extra $20 for a good view for the final show to end the day on, Believe in Sea of Dreams. And it was 100% worth every single dollar. This performance was very magical, and points I got really emotional, as it really helps me put into perspective how much my life has changed over the last year. I became single again after a very long time. I don't have the same friends as I had before. A lot of my job has changed. My interests have changed or kind of rekindled a bit. I'm not doing nearly half the crap I used to do. And it gave me a lot of time to kind of rediscover who the hell I am. And while I don't think I've quite found myself just yet, I've got a long life ahead of me, and I'm going to face tomorrow with positivity and grace. And I really hope that all those who are watching feel the same way, that you're able to kind of go out, see the bigger picture, and find yourself in this large pile of darkness that clouds your life. That at the end of the day, we just got to find ourselves. You got to find the light at the end of the tunnel, and this trip did really help me to rediscover who the fuck I am. That I matter. That I matter. It's a good feeling. It's a very good feeling.